could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
We started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. The C's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
John, what do you do? Hop on the mic. Make sure you eat that mic. Okay, go for it.
We've got a home staging business and a moving business. They're kind of the same thing. One is we move our own furniture. Other is we move other people's furniture.
Repeat that again. What do you do? What do you do? Repeat that again.
We have a moving company, and we also do home staging, which is kind of how we got the moving company started. And so one is I move our furniture to go stage a listing, let's say a vacant listing, and then we also do moving.
Okay, so I want to make sure that you guys understand the relationship that we have. So that way, everybody named Melissa Torkelson understands the relationship we have with each other. And that way, everybody gets it. And then I'm going to bring up Karime real quick. So Karime has the same relationship we have with her, with you, and then the same one with Josh. So we're on the same page. So Josh, when we charge you $1,700 a month, what does that mean?
$1,700 a month.
There it is. Okay. Okay. So that's the relationship. Okay. And then Karime, we charge you $1,700 a month. What does that mean? What does that mean?
$1,700.
That's what it is. Okay, that's what it is. Come on up here, Rhonda. Rockin' Rhonda. Rockin' Rhonda. Let's hear for Rockin' Rhonda. Yeah. Yes. She's bringing rockin' to the therapy world. Okay, Rockin' Rhonda. Rockin' Rhonda, when you pay us $1,700 a month, what does that mean?
It means it's the best value that I pay every month to get where I'm at today, and I'm very thankful for it.
So there's a thing called ROI, return on investment. ROI, R-O-I, we got that? Return on investment. So most of my clients report a 20-to-1 return on investment for every dollar spent they get back, 20-to-1. That's normally the average, but I don't know that's true, so I don't know. So we've worked together for a long time. You paid $1,700, which is kind of like you hired a minimum wage guy. Do you make a return on investment? Is it terrible? Is it good? Does it cost you more money? Do you bring in a return? How does it go?
Yeah, we brought in a lot more money. I mean, I think we get to pay you in, fake fiat dollars too. So I think maybe the one thing is I've been here for 8 years. It might have only been $1,400 or $1,500, 8 years ago. Right.
And then Lowell, you're a startup. Come on up here, Lowell. And so I just want to be super clear because I think I want to be no vagary about what I do. And so no hard pitch, but no vagary either. Lowell, you pay us $1,700 a month. What does that mean?
It means a great deal.
But your website, what's your website?
Dulce School of Music.
Okay, and we do, when clients pay us $1,700 a month, we do photography and video and web and search engine, and we have a weekly meeting, but we're available whenever you need us. So if you call on a Tuesday or a Monday, you don't get charged per call, per email, per hour, right, Melissa? We don't charge per call, per email. So some clients who I love a lot, I'll talk to you every day. There's a couple of you I saw today, and I'm like, You know how I know it? You know how I know it's a new day? Because I'm seeing you again. Because we talk every day, because we're going through that part of the business that's tough right now. So we're talking every day. Some of you, I used to talk to you every day. Now I talk to you once a month. Some of you, I get to see you at the conferences. But the point is, I want to make sure you're bringing in more money than you're paying us. That's the main thing, okay? And then there's 3 different levels of payment. I want to make sure I want you to just take notes on this, because it's about you, it's about me, it's about a business. I want to make sure you understand this, okay? A business, there's the 3P's. And Melissa, I want you to know this. You already know this, but I'm picking on Melissa because I did her wedding, and it's so fun to see you again. And it was the White Hawk. It was your wedding at the White Hawk. That's where it was. It wasn't Steve's wedding. It was the White Hawk Country Club, and there it is. I was like, why am I thinking White Hawk? It's because of that. There's 3 P's in business, and it's never going to be solved. There are 3 problems. 3 problems in business. They're never going to be solved. Again, how many gardeners do we have? Gardeners? They're always going to get a weed, aren't you? You have a garden? Always going to get a weed, right? Who here has a pet? Who has a pet? Anybody have a pet? The problem with the pet is there's always going to be a problem with the pet. Right? I mean, there's always going to be like a sickness or who here has kids? Turns out they eat money. I love it. The return on investment for me is infinite. I love it. I think it's a great idea to be fruitful and multiply. The only regret I have in my entire life is I wish we would have had 10. Like 5, I love it. I never had the terrible 2s. I love the 2s. Never had terrible 3s. I love my kids. I never had a problem with teenagers. I just love every moment. It's awesome. I love it. I love it. Just love it. Just love it. It's the only thing that I regret is not having more, okay? But it costs money, okay? But I'm just saying how many of you know when you have kids, there are things that happen, though. There are things, right? They get in a car wreck. They eat a lot of things. They eat all of the food you have. Do they not? And if you raise them right, they disappear for a while. You know what I mean? So you got all those things, right? So let's talk about it. But in business, there's 3 P's. There are always 3 P's. P number 1 is all of your customers want a lower price, don't they? John, back to you, your business. Let's pick on you first. Don't all your customers kind of wish you charged a little bit less for the moving services?
Yeah, they'd all like to pay a little less. That's true.
But I hear people say you're the only mover they've ever worked with that didn't break everything.
Well, that's true, and that's really, I like what you talk about, wowing your customers. That's really what we do. We just do a better job than everybody else.
But the customer wants you to pay less. The customer wants to pay less. We're on the same page? Everybody got that? P number 1. And by the way, if you don't believe me, Andrew Carnegie, one of the world's wealthiest people, grew up crazy poor, wrote a book called Gospel of Wealth. And the Gospel of Wealth is his book where he explains in a very short book the 3 P's, which is why he sold Carnegie Steel, because the 3 P's. At a certain point, he's like, I'm done with the 3 P's. But every customer wants a lower what? Right. Second P. Every employee wants more pay.
Money.
Come on, Lowell. You manage a staff now. You got great musicians who work for you. Great. And do they ever want to get paid a little more?
Oh, sure.
And wouldn't you want to pay them a little more?
I want to, yeah.
Okay, so let's play that game. So we pay the employee a little bit more, and now the customer, you have to charge the customer a little
less.
So what if you did the Lowell strategy and you charged the customer less and paid your employees more? What would happen? Okay, so you gotta. Unless you're in government, you can't do it, right? I mean, it's kind of funny, but it's also kind of true. Rhonda, don't all the wonderful therapists that work for you want to get paid a little bit more? Maybe. Am I wrong?
They always want to be paid more.
And
They don't like their split.
Don't the customers want a little bit to pay a little bit less?
Yes, they're always wanting a sliding scale.
Karime, you clean houses. Don't the customers always, am I wrong? Do the customers come to you and say, please let me pay you more?
They actually want a free clean, secretly.
Yeah. There's a restaurant in Breckenridge. If you look up Breckenridge Seafood there, okay? Breckenridge Seafood. It's right in downtown Breckenridge. It's an unbelievable place. Right downtown, you'll find it. Sean, kind of hunt around downtown. Let's go to downtown Breckenridge. Let's send in the man. It's called Carlin's. Look for Carlin's. C-A-R-L-I-N, Carlin's. And I always go there because that's where every Thanksgiving I try to go there. And I go there, and the waiters and waitresses, they're always kind of shocked. But I like to buck the 3 P's. It's my own little social experiment. So I go in there, and I love. Anybody here like seafood? Anybody here not like seafood? See, my wife doesn't like seafood, so I have to go there by myself usually, or with my daughter. My daughter, Havana, is my one kid that I've raised right. She gets seafood. So I'm getting there getting oysters at the Carlin, and I always will tip, more than my meal every time I go in there. And the waiters are always like, are you sure? Like almost like shocked. And I go, oh yeah, this is something I do. It's my little social experiment. I just enjoy. Anybody here? Do you enjoy tipping? Is there anybody here? I just want to know. I'm not. This isn't like I'm not trying to create a weird energy. But anybody here like you do enjoy tipping? Yeah. My wife loves to tip too. We're tippers. We like tipping. That's what we like to do. Have you ever been around someone that won't tip at all though? Yes. Woo! That's a tough gig. All right. So, and there are people like that they enjoy not tipping. They enjoy negotiating and fighting over the tip. Have you seen that energy? Okay. So again, let's talk about the 3 P's. P number 1, Josh, every customer wants to pay less money. Josh, you seen this? You do the bookkeeping. Do customers not want to pay less? Am I wrong? Am I off my game here?
Yeah, as you say, people don't wake up with a burning desire to pay you.
So next P, all the employees want to make more pay, all right? And the third, you should just write this down. Nobody cares about your profit except for you, and if I'm your coach, me. I can't tell you how many times my clients have used me as the justification for their price increase. It's hilarious. There's a gym in Joplin, and he says, I think the majority of my customers hate you. So I've used your name thousands of times. And it's like, my partner believes that we had to raise prices. My partner. And I'm like, you're telling thousands of people that your partner? Yeah, it makes it easier because I can put it's like a reverse commercial, you sicko, But how many of you know people don't want to raise their prices? That most business owners don't want to raise the prices. Who knows what I'm talking about? So, but the employee says, can I get a raise? And they go, yeah. So they increase the pay. And then the customer wants lower price. And so who takes the squeeze every time? The business owner. So you're going to have to get really comfortable with these 3 P's. The 3 P's. It's the squeeze, the 3 P's. Okay?
I always tell the clients, Clay, that we can't consider giving the raises unless we're considering changing the prices at the same time. Those decisions should be made at the same time during the year.
Say it again.
I always tell the clients that we should not be giving raises unless we're simultaneously changing the prices to the customer. So those decisions should be made at the same time each year.
Now, in every business, there's two people in the business. There's two. If you run the business all by yourself, there's one of you. But how many of you wear the financial hat in the business? You're the financial hat. Usually, it's like if it's the husband that's doing the sales, the wife's doing the finances. If they're a couple. If they're not a couple, then it's your partner. But how many of you wear the financial hat? You wear the financial hat. How many of you are wearing the marketing or the sales hat? Okay, so usually these two have a little bit of a conflict. So my wife, she hears me, because Carlton Pearson, my speaking coach, says to me, you need to go speak. I told you that. He said, you need to go speak, because I can't give you speaking advice unless you speak every week. So I would go speak to high school students about entrepreneurship, and I would tell all the students, if anybody reads, what book?
Think and Grow Rich.
Think You're Rich. I'll pay $100. Now, I'm saying this to like 500 kids a week, 400 kids a week, because I'm speaking to kids. And usually about twice a week, 3 times a week, someone was, getting the book. They're coming back. So I got high school kids showing up at my house. I'm 25 years old. I got high school kids showing up at my house. He said, is Mr. Clark here? Yeah. And I'm like 6 years older than them. Is Clay here? Yeah. Hey, bing bong. Is Clay here? Yeah. I'm in a high school. I'm at Broken Arrow High School. I'm at Jinx High School. I'm a TCC student. I'm a 50-year-old man. I'm a guy in a band. Bing bong. Can I get my $100? And my wife is like, what are you doing? And I'm like a Johnny Appleseed of Think and Grow Rich. I'm just throwing seeds. Now, a lot of those things have come back, actually, over time. It's pretty crazy how many longtime clients have came from that exercise. But all I'm saying is at some point, you've got to reap a harvest. And so I'm trying to have that sober moment with somebody here. You got to have a moment where you say, the 3 P's. So let's talk about the numbers. Alwaysbookkeeping.com. That's Josh. Josh, what's a healthy profit margin that a guy like Lowell over here, doing music, the music game, he's doing music, teaching kids music. What kind of a profit margin should he be operating at? He's teaching people music, Dulce School music. What profit margin?
Most service-based businesses are only going to survive if they have a gross margin. So that's your revenue less your direct expenses of 35%. It's got to be 35%.
35%?
35% or more.
Wow, you're negative, bro.
Has to be.
You're sick.
34.9 is the red square in my meeting minutes. It has
hateful.
to. It
Hateful.
has to be 35%.
Hate.
And then the overhead is probably going to be about 20%, right? And so that's what a healthy business looks like.
Let's make it easier. Without using your financial, your
sell
faith.
something for $100.
There it is.
It costs you $65 to deliver that thing that you sell, and you got $20 of overhead, and you take home $15. That is a healthy looking business.
I'm bringing up Thomas. Thomas, come up here real quick, Thomas.
When you think about, like, I'm going to cut my prices 5%. 5% is not 5% of your profit. 5% is 1/3 of your profit, because your profit was 15%. You want to give someone a 10% discount. That's 2/3 of your profit. You want to give someone a 15% discount, you might as well stay home.
So if Thomas is cleaning someone's house, okay, and don't use your fancy accounting words on us. Don't play that game with us, dude. Okay. So if he's charging someone $300 to clean their house, how much money, profit, total should be left at the end of the day he can pay himself?
When he pays the cleaners, before he pays any sort of office expenses, he needs to have a minimum, we're just going to call it simple math, $100. That's actually a little bit, that's
after paying everybody, $100 left?
$100. Yes. He needs to have $100.
Minimum?
That is minimum.
Why?
That's 33%.
You're hateful.
Because I want to turn a profit. Right?
Thomas, follow-up question. What do you got?
I guess I'm shocked because what are our profit margins right now?
Well, they're probably not going to be that way by default because the employee wants more pay, the customer wants lower price, and this is where the conflict happens.
Yeah.
The gravitational force for any business is to break even, to be not for profit, right?
The
CEO is the opposing force of that. And you think about it, when I look at clients, I tell them, like, think about what happens to your revenue if you raise your prices 10%. So let's say you raise your prices 10%, and 10%, the worst case scenario, 10% of your customers say, forget it, I'm out. Mm-hmm. So you've lost 10% of your customers, but the remaining 90% of your customers are now paying 10% more. What's happened to your total revenue?
Went up. It's increased.
It's the same. Now what happens to your costs?
Cost drops.
Your cost drops. Now what happens to your time and your headache?
It goes away.
It goes away. And who do you think are the customers who would have canceled if you increase it? The worst 10%. That's
so, okay, so let me, and Aaron, I'm going to be very vague about this story, but Aaron knows Aaron knows the beginning and the end of the story, okay? So a couple came into my life from a church, very, very vague about not the industry, and they had never done more than $300,000 of revenue in a year, but they had been in business for like 10 years. And they show up and they said, hey, we can't afford $1,700. I said, my wife always questions this. I love my wife. She always questions. She goes, why do you do this? I said, because it never works out, but when it does, it's good. So I said, I'll work with your business on a scholarship for $1,000, okay, which means I'm losing money. I'm going backwards every month. So we do $1,000 as kind of our scholarship. I'll do it for you. But, however, I'd like it eventually if we could charge you full price. So we helped him grow from $300,000 to $1.8 million in the first year. And then we helped him open up 18 locations. And then one of my longtime employees calls me and says, hey, your client just offered me a job. And they told me they're planning on canceling you because they don't like the methodical process. And so I'm going, are you kidding me? So I call the guy and he goes, yeah, we were going to talk to you, but they've already hired my staff away from me. It happens a lot. And then I said, we had a contractual agreement. You asked about a contract agreement. We have a contract. And then the agreement we had, because we helped them scale and franchise, the agreement was they'd pay me 2% of their gross revenue, 2%. And we caught this particular person embezzling, I think, $80,000 over a quarter. And they were like, well, you can sue us if you want. And this is the stuff that makes my wife nuts, but you'll just have to pray for my soul. So we go to litigation, and we sit down with the attorney. And this is how I do it every time. And I shouldn't say this, but this is what I do. I just said, hey, who's been to mitigation? Who's been to litigation? Who's been to mediation? I always just say, hey, just pay me $1 because you owe me. I think we figured out the attorney figured out they owed me like $1.something million of money they didn't pay me over the span of time. I said, just pay me $1 because I'll be dead soon. I don't want to spend any time in a room with you, and I'll just do it again. because it's easy for me to grow companies. I'll start a company to compete with you because it's easy for me. It's easier for me to just get paid $1 and whoop your ass as opposed to, debating with you in a court of law. And they were like, are you serious? And that's how we worked it out. And that kind of thing happens a lot. And Aaron's been around. He's seen this. That was like a 9-year story that we just shared in like 5 minutes. But I'm just saying, for me, I just don't want to spend my time in litigation because it bothers me. It's not in my flow state. And so I could have made another $1 million right there, but I didn't because I just didn't want to spend like a year in litigation. However, I can afford to do that because I do what I do well, and that was an outlier. And that kind of situation I just shared with you, those kind of things happened to me. And Leah knows, because Leah, you've seen it happen before. You've seen it. Okay, it happens. She's seen it happen. It usually happens in my life to me about once a year. That story, once a year. So 21 years, 21 stories like that. You know what I mean? But it happens, and it's because. How many of you have ever been betrayed or screwed by a customer or something? So what I have to do is when I talk about my 20% margin, we're factoring in litigation, we're factoring in insurance, we're factoring in all those things. So when I'm getting screwed, I've already factored in the litigation. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Does that make sense to you guys? So you got to think about the costs of doing business. And you have to think about, I don't want to think about it, but I'm going to get screwed. I'm going to get taken advantage of. You got to factor, and Josh, nobody factors that stuff in. And so when my wife says, we need to charge $1,700, because my wife likes to kind of chime in there, it's like, hey, after costs, this is what your actual costs are, and we operate around a 20% margin. Does that make sense to you guys? So I just want to be super clear. You have to somehow, and again, anybody here not like litigation? Anybody here not excited about that process? Who's been in litigation for a long period of time? I just found for me, it sucks all the energy, sucks all the momentum out of your life. And for me, I'd rather move on. And so that's why I like to stay in non-contractual relationships when possible. And when I am in a contract, I just want to get in what I put out and move on. I'd rather do that than to spend my day debating. But it's so important that you have somebody like Josh or a coach or maybe both in your life that looks at the numbers. Josh, I want to keep you up here. Karima, any questions for Josh about pricing? Just pricing your business, your cleaning service, anything about pricing, anything about money, because this is kind of where I like to kind of land the plane, talking about the numbers. Any question you have about prices or pay or anything? You good? John, what about you? You feel good about pricing? Because if you want to ever sell your company and you show that you operate at a 5% margin, no one's going to buy that company. So you've got to be at least at a 20 or 35% profit margin, or no one's going to buy the company. You can't get a small business loan. You can't get a car loan. You can't get a home loan. You can't sell the business. You got to factor it in. John, you got a question?
I'm thinking, but I can't think of anything.
You're good?
So, yeah,
okay.
I'm good.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
You kind of brought it up earlier about merit-based pay for employees. Is it illegal to dock pay, or where do I find that information at?
Usually it's illegal, it's state by state, but generally speaking, usually it's illegal to dock pay, but what you can do is give performance-based pay. So pay on top of the base, right? Okay. So think about, in terms of, there's certain sticks that we talked about, but most of the sticks are emotional sticks. The financial end of it, it's got to be carrots, right? So think low base.
NFL works like that a lot, the National Football League. So it's a guy will make this much, and they get all sorts of bonuses for performances. But if they don't get it if they don't perform. So you just want to set a base and then have bonuses everywhere.
That would be awesome, though, if they got docked when they dropped the ball or something in a big game.
That would be a wild league.
Follow-up question to that, is it illegal to reduce hours if that employee is being
it's illegal, but I wouldn't make it I wouldn't email the reason why I'm reducing your hours is because you're a jackass. I mean, I would just not give them as many opportunities.
Careful, again, state by state, but think constrict. So don't think they go from 40 hours to 10 hours or 20 hours and you end up with some sort of constructive dismissal type thing, right? So as your CFO, I'm going to start to, I think differently than the lawyers, right? The lawyers, they'll ask, is it illegal? And your CFO says, well, how much am I going to pay? Is it a speeding ticket, right? How much is it going to cost me to keep this degenerate on payroll too, right? What could they sue me for? What's the likelihood, right? And so it's kind of from a CFO perspective, it's what's the game theory?
Very few of our clients get sued, and I try to be very cautious on any advice I would give you on this, but you just want to make sure that there's a meritocracy where if someone's not performing, you're not giving them the peak hours or something. John, you have a question?
Yeah, I was thinking, typically I pay the movers, the guys that help us carry the furniture, typically I pay them by the hour. But kind of what I've been thinking about is like, wouldn't it be, because every now and then a customer that say they got burned by a previous moving company where the final bill ended up being twice as much as what they were quoted, because they underestimated how long it would take, but they gave them an hourly price, and then, it ended up taking twice as long, and that's kind of a bad thing about the moving industry is that happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to not do that. So if I really tell them exactly what it's going to cost, then I may lose the job to a lower price. And so I thought about, like if I give someone a fixed rate, like we're going to do this job for this much money, just paying the guys a percentage of the job instead of
that's how
by the hour.
OxyFresh runs, by the way.
Piecework works really well in that sort of like short time span service-based business. So think like moving or roofing or siding or something that's, really kind of short duration.
I see some brains here kind of lighting up. Any questions for Josh about this? Because you're tapping into some wisdom here on the accounting side. Yes, sir. You just kind of yell at us. I'll go first. I'll let him go second. I look at it every week. So I'm just being honest with you guys. We do a conference like this, okay? How many of you were at the one with Kiyosaki? You remember that? There was no tables. It was just chairs. And it was like, I felt kind of bad, but some of you were sharing a chair with a guy you just met. For the ladies, it was kind of awkward. But no, it was like, it was tight, wasn't it? So I try to have 250 people here, and then I'll try to give you room to kind of spread out. But when you have that kind of crowd, it's tough, So I try to. It's designed for 250 is kind of the idea. But we have Kiyosaki or Eric Trump. It might be a bigger. Anyway, you get the idea. So, but when we have an event like this, we might have 5 to 10 people that are a good fit for what we do, and the average client sticks around for a long time. So you think about the cost associated with bringing in Tim Tebow or security or the food or whatever those things are. You add up all those costs, you divide that by how many customers you get. I'd say, 80%, 90% of the clients we work with are regular price, and we probably have 10% we help on a scholarship of some kind to help get going, and it's well worth it to me, and it might not make mathematical sense, but it almost never works out, but when it does, it's a good thing, I mean, I some of my longtime great clients, and Aaron's seen this, some clients we helped on scholarship turn out to be great clients, but it's like, it usually doesn't work out, but if it does, you know what I mean? So I kind of do the math, and I think that we add it up, and at the end of the event, we'll go, okay, the event costs this much. And just so you know, it usually takes 3 full months, so 90 days after the event, for the event to break even. For this event to break even. So if we did this event, about 90 days before we break even. So you add up all the costs, and that would be the thing. We look at it every week, though, so it's very clear in my mind. So that's why I do 4 events a year, because I know that math. So I would just say, you want to look at it weekly, and I'll tell you, and if you're somebody who doesn't want to look at it weekly, you're going to want to look at it monthly. And if you're someone who doesn't want to look at it monthly, you'll say quarterly. And Josh knows this, because the clients who are like, I don't want to do weekly, they typically want to do monthly. And the clients that say, I don't want to look at it monthly, they want to do quarterly. But the closer you look at it, the tighter those intervals, the more aware of the patterns you will be. The tighter the intervals. Back to you.
Yeah, I would second what Clay is saying, that you're going to look at your customer acquisition cost weekly, just like it's set up on that tracking sheet, because you're going to look at things like, how many impressions you got, how many clicks you got, how many leads you got, how many deals you got, and I would look at that metric. But I would also always back test metrics trailing 12 months, because there's a whole bunch of costs. It goes into this question here, the break-even figures. Do I analyze / establish this based on weekly, monthly, annually? And so I want to know my break-even cost every month, because I'm looking at monthly reports, but I want to backtest of what my actual costs are trailing 12 months, because there's going to be a whole bunch of things that don't happen every month. You're not going to get sued every month, but you're going to get sued once in a while. Your insurance, you might only pay annually, so you want to backtest that, the trailing 12 months, just like your customer acquisition cost, after you test it on the weekly basis, because a lot of squirrely things can happen in a week, and it might be too late. But also, you might be missing stuff unless you look trailing 12.
And just to hammer home what he said, a lot of our clients we work with will do non-equity partnerships. That's kind of our normal. That's what Aaron does. So we'll make a small percentage of the growth, usually 2.5%, something like that, right? So just to put this number in your mind, one of our clients we work with, we make more money per month off of his commissions than all client fees combined. And he always honors his agreement, and he's excited to pay. He always will add a little extra sauce to it, too. He'll be like, hey, tell your team great, or thank you, or whatever. And I've worked with him for years and years. Other clients, though, they bail out on their agreements. Not every month, but that happens, and you have to deal with litigation or whatever. So you got to factor those things in. If you look at it weekly, you'll start to see patterns. And so my wife would tell you, yeah, every year you're going to get screwed by someone close to you. And Leah, you've seen it. Aaron, you've seen it. And it's painful. It's tough. I had a guy who's been here forever, and he tells me, hey, by the way, these people are screwing you. They're hiring me. And I'm only telling you because they told me it was cool with you. But then I just discovered that you didn't know about it, right? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, well, they told me that they talked to you. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. So they hired me. I already agreed. And now I feel kind of bad, but I took the upfront signing bonus. I go, anything else? Yeah, they told me every employee that I take, I get 10 grand, and they're going to give them Oklahoma City Thunder tickets. Leah, you might know about this a little bit. Season tickets to the Thunder game, and a car if they quit and come work for us. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. And I go, well, Judas actually turned over Jesus for $2,200 in today's silver prices. I watched the price of silver. So, so again, that happens not every day, but Judas sold out Jesus. He had seen Jesus' miracles, and he sold them out for $2,200 in today's, think of how crazy that is. And Jesus turns out to be kind of important, right? So I'm just saying it's going to happen. So don't think that you're somehow beyond Jesus, right? How many of you know Jesus was a pretty good leader? Yes. But he did get betrayed, did he not? So you just got to factor that in. It's a cost to doing business. Hopefully that's helpful. Back to you, sir. Window, yeah. Yeah. Yep. You're selling window cleaning, but you might sell it annually or biannually. You might get a lot of money up front. And I'm not attacking your business plan, but it's very dangerous to take upfront payments for a window cleaning company in half-year intervals. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I only calculate it based on what I actually received, not what I could receive. I only count what I did receive. I think accrual-based accounting is super dangerous. I would only focus on cash accounting, where you're counting what you actually have, not what you could have. And there was a client, I want to be very vague. He's a great man. He's going to federal prison right now, it sounds like, a long-time client. But he had a CFO that was doing loans based upon factoring, and you know how that gets squirrely. And so he was, and Aaron knows this guy. We met him through the Reawaken Tour, great guy. And his CFO was cooking the books and doing loans based upon money that could come in. And he was signing off on it, not quite paying attention. And he ended up defaulting on one loan and another. And now he's probably going to federal prison because he signed off on false financial documents. And he called me up. I was the first person he called. He flew in to tell me, and he's like, hey, I signed off on documents I didn't fully understand, and I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was, if you were, what's going to happen? I went, well, you probably are going to federal prison because it's huge amounts of money. It's hundreds of millions of dollars. So you got to know your numbers. And when the numbers get confusing, Satan is the author of confusion. And so if you start to have confusing numbers, it creates problems. I'd recommend cash accounting if you can. Back to you, Sproul.
Super important for that to do that trailing 12-month analysis. Because if you do that, you're going to get to your real number in terms of the gross profit margin. Because no matter how you book it, even if you do it on a cash basis, it's going to look really good in those months where you actually collect it. But unless you look on the trailing 12 months, you're not really going to know your numbers. Think about it this way. It's like public companies only give you reports every 3 months. Those are the companies with the biggest and most sophisticated financial systems in the world. And the Trump administration is actually advocating that they should only have to release the reports every 6 months, because the shorter that financial report, the more timing errors that are going to occur. That's a very obvious timing error. That's why the gold standard is always a trailing 12 months. And that's not something that replaces the weekly analysis, because that will help cut off anything that's really squirrely. But it's also not something you need to do at the end of the year. It's something you can do at the end of every month. You can calculate the trailing 12 months.
Rapid fire. Any other questions, Lowell, that you would have as it relates to bookkeeping from Josh while we got him? Any final question? Karime, Thomas, anybody?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah.
So that 35% profit margin, if you're doing rev share.
Minimum.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're doing rev share, if you're paying investors off the top of the business, is that 35%?
You got to be careful, right? Because then
Yeah,
you know
you do.
if you're paying off the top of the business and someone's like, I'm giving someone 10% of the gross revenue, they own 2/3 of that business.
Correct.
So we have to understand that.
Rock and Rhonda, any thoughts, questions?
Half of my staff is 1099. So there's the split, right? And so trying to get them to do a lot of like our checklist of things that we need them to do and still fall within the guidelines of, but I really want to cut back maybe hours because they're not helping me get the clients in the door, or they're not wanting to do those things. So is there something that I can do to get them to be motivated more?
Can I say something real quick? Aaron, can you come up here real quick here? And then, by the way, what we're going to do is we'll take a break. Aaron, we'll have our final 15-minute sprint, but I want everyone who bought something, I want you to have a chance to win the helmet, so we want to get you a chance to sign in for that. Aaron, you manage with Shaw Homes at the peak. You're doing $151 million of sales.
Yeah.
Virtually 80% of the labor was contract.
Yeah,
Framers,
subcontract,
plumbers.
yeah.
And so you say, you're going to frame this way for this price,
Yeah.
and if you don't, you're not getting paid.
Right. Scopes of work is what you give them. So you tell them you have to do it this way, give them all the specifications.
And if you don't,
you don't get paid that amount.
And so that's one thing you might want to talk about during a break, because Aaron did a very good job of that. But plumbers, framers, tile guys, roofing guys, here's what you're going to do if you want to get paid. And they would say, well, I'm a contractor. You can't make me do that. Like, well, I'm going to do that. And if you want to get paid, that's the scope of work. Yeah.
What line of work are you in? What line of work are you in?
She's a therapist.
A therapist. Mental health.
Mental health.
Yeah.
You need her. Just kidding.
My wife might agree, right? Yeah. I would
Strong
suggest
referral.
that most of the clinics like that, they're going to need some employees. Not everyone. There's going to be an office manager as that business starts to scale that cannot be a 1099 because you need ultimate and total control.
My support staff is all W-2. My clinicians right now, it's merit-based. They all start the same split. No one's different. And so then if they improve by working hard and getting 20 to 25 clients a week, then I won't even review it in a year. I'll review it in 6 months and say, and maybe offer them, you're holding a great client load. Would you like to come on full time?
Your single biggest KPI that's usually missed.
Key performance indicator.
Your single biggest key performance indicator in most, I would say, health-based businesses is that rebooking rate. And so even just measuring what percentage on practitioner by practitioner, what percentage already has the next appointment booked in before they leave. You need to know that, and simply just making that public.
Right.
Simply just making that public will actually increase the performance, right? And then from there, then you can drill into who is the leader, what do they say, and what does the other person not say. That just needs to be a script. Because some of them, you can beat them over the head all they want, but they actually just don't know how to do it.
Now, for sake of time, we come back. We're going to have one final session. It's going to be kind of a variety pack.
But that Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him, character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart. And I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good. And then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. But I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
No, he is. He is.
He has such a wealth of knowledge. He's worked with so many different companies and different businesses. He could take a concept that he's used before in the past with somebody totally different industry and see how it would work perfectly for you in whatever niche market you're in or whatever type of service you're providing. And so his brain is just a wealth of knowledge, and just to have that type of perspective on, as a part of your team and your own company is huge, super valuable. So I would definitely encourage people to use him. But one thing is, you got to be coachable. You got to be wanting to get feedback. You got to be wanting to really grow your company. You got to want to put that extra 10 hours a week to working on your business and not just in your business. And so, yes, I would recommend it to anybody who's wanting to grow their company and provide great systems, checklists, workflows, great encouragement, and have accountability.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And I mean, we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us, and it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builders shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads, going from 10 a month to 180 a month. That would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it, because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due, and Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects, you know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you, so congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodward Finishing, business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous, just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach, you know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, you know, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever was important. My rich dad was one of those persons. I wanted to learn how to play Monopoly in real life. So he was my coach.